Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Confidence Mindset with Amanda. So in this video, we're just going to have a little look at why our circumstances don't matter and what it is we're actually doing when we manifest for our particular desires. So circumstances don't matter because circumstances are part of the 3D. They are a physical representation of our mindset and where we are on our mindset and what it is that we have been continually thinking about on our day-to-day life. Now, however, I do want to stress that sometimes we can manifest undesirable circumstances that have nothing to do with us. And really, when this happens, when we have undesirable circumstances that have nothing to do with us in our life, it's really how we respond. So what do I mean by this? So we could have something that would come unexpectedly from out of nowhere that we may not have been thinking about or expecting to happen in our reality. And when these things happen, it's really about where we are in our state of mind that actually continues the undesirable circumstances. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we don't have a great mindset to understand that we are detaching from our outside circumstances, to understand that nothing is permanent, to understand that all we have is the present moment, to understand that time therefore is an illusion, to understand then that our circumstances, although may seem real, are not actually real because they just erupt out of how we are continuing to think on our day-to-day life. So if we manifest something that we think to ourselves, man, I don't even know how I manifested that because I was not even thinking about that or expecting that. But when we understand that it isn't then from our thoughts, we respond in a different way. However, if we are low in our state of being, we will act like the victim. We will act like it is impossible to change. We will act like, defeated mindset with everything is always going wrong, and all these type of affirmations that we will continue to reaffirm because of what came up in our reality. And this is how our circumstances don't change straight away, because we dwell on what is being shown to us in the physicality of our 3D. Now, when we have a good mindset, things then that pop up, we tend to respond differently because we know we are the creators. We know that change is always happening and that nothing is permanent, and whatever comes or pops up our way, we are able to find the solution for it. We are able to respond to it in the way that we want to respond to it, so that we can create the desire that we want to experience. And this is how we then change our circumstances. And this is exactly why circumstances don't matter, because we can change our mindset on them at any time. And once we change our mindset on the circumstances over a period of time, the circumstances start to change into the desired result that we are continuing to think of. But however, if undesirable things happen that aren't our fault, it really just shows us where we are in our state of mind of how we handle it. So if we are in a good state of mind and undesirable circumstances come up, straight away we won't be accepting them, because we will be understanding that everything is created from within us and we can change anything in our reality through our thoughts. And so when we are in a low state of being, that is how we perpetuate undesirable circumstances, because we dwell in the defeated kind of mindset of everything is always going wrong, and etc., etc., things that are undesirable, and why is this happening to me, and all these kind of negative assumptions that we tend to fall into when we are faced with undesirable circumstances in our reality. And this happens because we're human, of course, and so these things can happen. But however, if this has happened, you can change it in any time. We can change it in any time. Remember, this is a process, and we are humans. We are going to have a human experience, and if we react to the 3D, it is fine. All we have to do is acknowledge what we are reacting to. So we look at our circumstances and we look at what it is that is actually triggering us. And as we do this, we are uncovering our blocks. We are also, well, we don't really have any blocks. For me, I think blocks is just a limitation. But however, maybe we do have less confidence in some beliefs that we may not be aware of. And so we understand this from our circumstances, and we get the feedback from our circumstances, and we start to affirm and build a belief around all those little kind of less, the self-conscious kind of beliefs we may have had in creating and sustaining circumstances that were undesirable. So when we start to change it into the other way, and we start to create and sustain circumstances that are desirable, this is when our reality starts to change, because everything in our reality, you could say, is not real. Even when we get our desires, you could say it's not real, because it's created from the thoughts that we are consistently telling ourselves, and all of our feelings are created from within. And so somebody who, say you're manifesting for a specific person, or you're manifesting for a relationship, this person comes into your life and they complement you on where you are. So if you have a great state of mind, this person will come into your life, you will be feeling love, but you'll be feeling all of these great excitements and confidence and security within yourself. And so because you're already feeling that, you enjoy the relationship a lot more, because there's no grasping, there's no neediness, there's no needing to have this person in your life, because you know that you are feeling all the love and all the excitement, and you do things for yourself on a daily basis to show yourself all that love and excitement as well too. Now, if you do have a low state of mind, you can still attract somebody into your life, because remember, we create from our thoughts, we don't really create from our feelings. But however, the thought does create the feeling. It's so complicated sometimes, but the thought does create the feeling, and as the thought creates the feeling, this is it's the feeling state that we actually want to sustain in our life. Because when we manifest for a particular desire, we are manifesting for this particular desire because we want to maintain it and sustain it in our life. But the reason we want to maintain it and sustain it in our life is not because of our thoughts, it's because of how we will feel when we have the desire. So with that being said, I would like to point out then that our thoughts, through the repetition of our thoughts kind of make the actual assumption that manifests. So what do I mean by this? So we can have an assumption about something to manifest in our life, but if we are continuing to tell ourselves an assumption and then maybe not keeping our thoughts on right and looking out to our 3D and thinking that we're not getting what I want, it's going to be a perpetuating circle to not getting what we want. So what we do is then we repetitively tell ourselves these thoughts. As we tell ourselves these thoughts, let's say, for example, we are feeling sad and we want to tell ourselves that we are happy. And so we continue to tell ourselves that I am so happy, I am so happy, I am so happy, I am so happy, I am so happy. And see, this is just a line, this is just a thought, this is a thought that we're having, that we're saying repetitively. And as we say this thought, after a few minutes or so, we may have this natural assumption to say to ourselves, you know what, I am happy, everything is okay, everything is going great in my life, and I am really grateful for everything in my life. And we had that assumption, okay, because we kept telling ourselves that I am so happy, I am so happy, I am so happy. So once we have repetitively said the thoughts, we've created this natural assumption that we are actually believing in. And because we created this natural assumption, it's creating this sort of feeling within us that hits the subconscious mind, as well as the thoughts do hit the subconscious mind, but the feeling kind of hits our subconscious mind quicker. And because of that, then it starts to reflect that in our reality a bit more instant than it would on repetitively just saying I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. I hope I'm making sense here. But when we sit down and we meditate on our affirmations, this is actually essentially what we are doing. Because when we sit down and we say our affirmations, say you're manifesting for €1,000,000 and you're sitting down and you're doing an affirmation of I have €1,000,000, I have €1,000,000, I have €1,000,000, I have €1,000,000, I have €1,000,000. Let's just say you're using that affirmation, but you repetitively tell yourself that. After a few minutes of meditating on that actual statement, you will come out of that statement and your mind will be open to more possibilities. Because your mind is open to more possibilities, you will have this assumption, you know what, it is possible to manifest €1,000,000. I am going to manifest €1,000,000, and you're having these natural assumptions, and it's these natural assumptions that are creating the feeling of you knowing that you are capable of manifesting €1,000,000. You are also then, because your mind is telling your subconscious mind that, it's hitting the subconscious mind that that's why your subconscious mind knows exactly what you want, because your conscious mind is telling your subconscious mind what you actually want. So you could stop affirming for the €1,000,000, but because you're making that assumption, that's creating that feeling within your subconscious mind, will remember that it's the €1,000,000 that you're manifesting and bring it into you. So we never really have to worry about how we word our manifestations, as long as we are just keeping our thoughts on our manifestations, because the subconscious mind knows exactly what you want. It knows the person that you want, knows the amount of money that you want, knows the house you want, knows the car you want, knows everything that you actually want because of how you have told it with your repetition of thoughts, and then you're creating these assumptions. And these natural assumptions that you are creating are, in a sense, creating a feeling within. It's a feeling state, I suppose you could say, that you are creating within. And as you are doing that, you're telling your mind and your body that you are this person who has €1,000,000. And as you do that, that's when it starts to, things, opportunities, possibilities, everything is opening up in your world. And your mind then is open to seeing all these possibilities and opportunities because you have kept your thoughts on manifesting €1,000,000, on being rich, on these healthy assumptions that you are having. Even if you're just having the assumption that says, you know what, the more I tell my mind this, the quicker it's going to come into my reality. That's a healthy assumption that you're having on your affirmations. And so it's all about these assumptions that we are creating through the repetition of thought, I might say. It's never about the feeling, because we don't create the feeling, we create the thought first. The feeling comes last, and it's the feeling that we're actually manifesting from our desire, but it's actually the feeling that comes last from how we create it, because we're creating the thought we're creating the thoughts first, and then we're creating the assumption through our thoughts. So our thoughts and assumption are kind of hand in hand, and then we create unconsciously, we are creating this feeling within that's hitting our subconscious mind. Even if we don't consciously feel it in the moment, we are then inevitably unconsciously then telling ourselves that yes, this is possible. And as we're doing that, we are creating that feeling in the moment. Hope I'm making sense. But it's the feeling comes last, so the thoughts come first through a repetition. However we're doing it, affirmations, subliminals, it doesn't really matter, listening to audio at night, however we're saturating our mind. When we saturate our mind, it's like our conscious mind has these healthy assumptions, but these assumptions that are being created are hitting the subconscious mind, and as it hits the subconscious mind, the feeling is created. And so the feeling is created from this feeling of possibility, from this feeling of excitement, because the more we actually affirm for something, you will notice that you will be getting excited, because you'll be thinking to yourself, I'm changing the belief. And as you change the belief, it starts to you start to see evidence in your reality of what it is that you are affirming. And this kind of builds your confidence even more, and it's starting to then show up in your reality because of the feeling that you are getting, if you get what I mean, the excitement that you get. Now, I do want to stress, as I know that this might not be in full sense, so I hope that you will leave me a comment or email me if you need more explaining. But I want to stress that it's not the feeling, we don't have to be in this high elevated emotion to manifest. We are creating the emotion and the feeling through the thoughts, and the thoughts come first. So we're doing this through repetition of thought, and then as we do this, then we are creating these assumptions that are becoming so natural to us that we're actually expecting everything to change in our reality. And when we are expecting it, we're not checking the 3D, we're not checking for anything, because we know that it's coming, we know that it's internal. So that means it's going to be external, because everything we create is internal. And as we are creating everything from within as without. And so this is how the feeling states are created. So we can use affirmations to create feeling states. So in our affirmations, we could say things like, I am so happy I have €1,000,000, or you see these type of things, and whatever becomes more believable to you. Because when we are saying affirmations that are more believable to us in whatever way that we speak, obviously it's going to seep in quicker. So this is why I would recommend to make your affirmations into little sentences just like that. I am so happy that I have €1,000,000, that I have over €1,000,000. Affirmations that sound like you're telling your friend, it's like a conversation. Tell your subconscious, affirm to your subconscious that you already have this thing. And that's when you, as an assumption persistent in will harden into fact, as Neville Goddard says. But I also saw a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he said, don't complain and don't explain. And he meant that don't complain to the subconscious and don't explain why you're saying it to the subconscious, because subconscious doesn't understand logic anyway, because it'll only subconscious picks up on feelings more than logic. So if a subconscious subconscious picks up on feelings more than logic, it means that there are so many possibilities that your desire can come to you, because it's illogical then, because you don't have to, your ego is the one that is telling you the logic. So you let go of the ego, because the ego is not real. Your ego is there just to protect you from things, and it's just there to show you things, maybe to protect you from what we've already fed our ego throughout our years. And so maybe we've had the limiting belief where we have to be protected from certain things in our life, that this is why our relationships haven't progressed, or maybe we have a limiting belief that it's morally wrong to be so rich, or these limiting beliefs. That's just the ego then that pops up to try and save you back into that way of thinking. But we don't listen to the ego, because the ego is, as I say, Dr. Wayne Dyer has said before, it's exiting God out, and our manifestations are God in expression. So our manifestations come from within, which means that if they are coming from within, it's an expression from God. It's God telling us from within that we are better than our circumstances, that there is better for us, that we are too high, that we are to elevate higher to experience this desire, because we wouldn't get the desire if we weren't supposed to experience it. Because it's, as I say, it's God within, but it's when you get the desire, it's like that's God expressing without. So everything in our manifestation is all love, it's all bliss, it's all joy, it's all abundance, it's all peace, harmony, it's all goodness. And so we are supposed to experience it. And when we fall down or anything like that, we just remember that expression from Dr. Wayne Dyer, ego, it's exiting God out. And so that's not what we're doing when we're manifesting. So he said, don't complain and don't explain. And that's actually what we should be remembering, because we don't need to explain to the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind already knows, and it's only logic that ever explains anyway. And so we don't look at logic when it comes to manifestation, because manifestation is perfect. And as well too, then we don't complain, because if we are saying our affirmations and then we look outside to our 3D and we complain, well, then we're just reaffirming the circumstances that we don't want. So we don't want to do that either. So we say our affirmations, and we say our affirmations with faith, we say our affirmations with belief, and we say our affirmations with the understanding that we are reprogramming the subconscious mind. We're retraining our subconscious mind into this new way of being. And as we do this, we are then creating these natural assumptions. We are then creating these feeling states within that we're not even aware of. Because we're doing that, we're elevating our emotions within, even if we are not aware that we are doing this. And then we are attracting what we want into our life. But however, because we are changing our mindset, this is what we're doing in manifestation, we're changing our mindset. Instead of attracting what we are, we then end up sustaining and maintaining what we are. And so if we want to maintain and sustain what we are, well, then we are becoming what we are through our thoughts and our repetition, and then the assumptions that we persist in that harden into fact, as Neville Goddard says. So I hope this video makes sense. If not, leave me a little comment below or email me. My email is in the description below. But however, I just wanted to make a video on why the circumstances don't matter, and kind of go into a deeper explanation of why they don't matter. They don't matter because they're not real. And look, this isn't to discredit what anybody is going through, but it's to understand that we can change our circumstances at any time simply by being diligent with changing our thoughts, by being disciplined with changing our thoughts, and repetitively telling ourselves something over and over again. And as we do that, then we lift ourselves out of this undesirable feeling state. We lift ourselves out of this hopeless feeling state, this impossible feeling state, and we shift ourselves into the possible. We shift ourselves into the knowing. We shift ourselves into the belief that as we continue to tell ourselves something, it is going to show up in our reality. And that as we continue to tell ourselves something, we're going to start feeling better within ourselves. If we change our mindset every single day, we wake up and we choose ourselves, and we choose to tell our subconscious mind that this is the new story that we want to experience, that this is who we are now, and that we continue to tell our subconscious mind that, and our subconscious mind is listening the whole time, knows exactly what we want, even if we're not affirming for it and we're still telling ourselves that we have it. The the subconscious mind is going to bring it into a reality, and it will bring exactly what we want. So even if we're not affirming for a specific name or a specific amount of money, our subconscious mind knows what we want and it'll bring it to us always. So all we have to do is continue to build the mindset and continue to build our confidence. And this is what we do when we're using our thoughts through repetition every single day, by having a thought process. It's a lifestyle change. It's not just about sitting there for 10 minutes and saying an affirmation over and over and then getting up out of the meditation and then watching our circumstances to change and then saying, oh, they're not changing, it's not working. That's not how it works. It's not manifesting to gain, it's manifesting to sustain and maintain. And we do that by becoming that person who continues to have exactly what they want in their life. So I hope this video helps. Like and subscribe if you wish. Thank you so much for all your likes, comments and subscribes, and for your lovely comments as well too. Thank you so much for all your support, and I will chat to you soon.